Alright, so last time we learned about arrays, different types of arrays, how to make them work, how to use them. This lesson we're going to be focusing more on loops. So how do you loop items? What are loops? Let's begin with that. So loops are pretty much like a block of code that you write that basically does itself over and over again for a specific amount of time. Or it can do itself over and over again forever. Well, that's pretty much what loops are, really. And there's many different types of loops. We're going to start with the basic loops, where you want to loop something while a condition is true. So this is known as a while loop. So let's get rid of our code here and write our loop code. So let's start by defining a variable, let's say x. Make that equal to 1 or whatever number you like, doesn't matter. And next we're going to do a while statement. So while, this is how you start your loop. So while condition. So your condition is going to be while x is lesser than or equal to 5, let's say, or make it 10. Gives us a better bracket. So let's open up with curly brackets and close that there. And now while x is lesser than or equal to 10, we're gonna we're gonna loop it. So we're gonna echo the number is dot x dot, let's add a break in there, and you'll see later on why we need the break. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this. So you want to add 1 onto the previous value of x while x is lesser than or equal to 10. So let's save that and refresh our index page and see what we get here. So refresh, and now you'll see that you get every number from 1 to 10. So this basically looped x. So while x was lesser than 10, this one added 1 onto the previous value, causing it to output a 2, and then a 3, a 4, all the way until 10, because that's our definition there. So if we say while x is less than or equal to 20, and we refresh our index page, now you'll see you get it all the way down to 20. That's pretty much the first kind of loop known as a while loop. Just loops the thing in a predefined amount of time, if you want to say it that way. Alright, so the second type of loop we're going to learn is a do-while loop. That's pretty much the same as a while loop, but it's just a bit different, as we'll see right now. So let's leave this code that we have right here. Instead of having a while, we're just going to take out this part here and have do. So we're pretty much going to do this. Now underneath that, we can have while, whoops, can't spell, circle brackets. We can do that while x is lesser than or equal to 10. So this way, you pretty much have the same thing going on here, and when you refresh your index page, you can see that this goes on until 10. That does the basic same idea, but when you're using larger code, it's good to use a do-while statement. Now the third kind of loop we're going to learn about is the for loop. Now the for loop is used mainly when you know how many loops, how many times the script you want to execute. So how many times you want to loop the thing when you know it. That's when you use it for. So let's start by deleting all our code here. And now we're going to start up the for loop. So how do you start a for loop? Well, this might give it away. For. That's pretty much looping it. So the way you want to do this is you need to define any variables. Like, you can define your variables right in the for loop. So we want to define x is equal to 1, right? So that's defining it right there. You can define it outside the loop. It doesn't really matter. Now, something special about this is that you end right in here with a semicolon. And now that. Now you want while x is lesser than or equal to 10. Okay. So this is the second line, and now what you want to do is go x plus plus. So what we did here is define variable x right in here. And now what we wanted to do is while x is lesser than or equal to 10, right, we want to add 1 to the previous value. So that's pretty much how the loop goes. So you open that thing with a curly bracket and close it. So now while that happens, you can echo the number is, and this way you can just get the x value and add a break in there. So let's refresh our index page and see what we get here. So when we go localhost, you'll notice we get the same thing as we did before while we did the while loop and the do while loop. So that's basically the same thing we did use, but we defined our variable and our conditions right in one line. So that's like a good way of using it. The for loops can be used for many different things. Like you can even get values from arrays, which is what we're going to be doing next. It's called a for each loop. This way you can get values from arrays. So let's get rid of this code here and let us define an array. Say array is equal to array, and now let's, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. Let's just do that, right? So what you're gonna do to get the value from the array is, we're not gonna do the way before, but we're gonna actually use a loop. So what you do is for each value, you go array as, let's say x, right? So that basically says for each time you get into the array and return the value is x. So what you want to do now is echo your x instead of your array this time. So this way it'll get all the values from the array. So whoops, you want to echo x this time. And then let's just add a break in there. Alright, so that's pretty much how you do it. So let's refresh our index page. See what you get. You get 1, 2, and 2 because I messed it up there. So 3. So this gets all the values in the array. Pretty simple. Better way than doing it the other way when we do it, you know, array and then the brackets we do value 0, then the next line we do value 1. It's just, this way makes it a lot easier. So say we want to add more to array 4, right? Refresh, you get a 4 down there. So that's pretty much the gist of loops. Now loops can be used in anything, anyway. Think of cool stuff to use loops in, and thanks for watching the tutorial. Stay tuned for the next one.